Hi everyone, welcome back to another day. We are halfway through the week already, which is awesome. Hopefully you're all doing well. I truly miss seeing you guys every day. I am hoping that maybe we get to see each other before the end of the year, but who knows? Otherwise, I really hope I get to see you again next year. Not in my classroom, but at least across the hallway. So today I think is going to be a little bit more challenging. We're going to solve some multi-step equations, including fractions, and fractions can be tricky. So I'm going to try to show you a way that we can get rid of the fraction. So do your best to follow along. We're going to do this over 2 days so that you have some time to really process this. We'll have just a short assignment today, and then we'll do some more problems tomorrow. So hopefully after 2 days, it gets a little easier. So, we are at April 22nd already. Solving multi-step equations with fractions. Okay, now we all know what these fractions look like, and you've solved equations before and can probably deal with the fraction when they're simple one-step equations. So if I were to do this problem, typically what we would do is we would add 1/8 to each side. Okay, and then these would cancel and we'd have x equals. Now we have to add fractions, so we need a common denominator. Okay, so I got my common denominator, I add, and I get 11/16. Okay, that wasn't so bad. We can do the same thing here. This is a one-step equation, but now we're going to divide to solve it, and we're dividing by 3/5. Now, you guys remember, we don't really divide fractions. Instead, we multiply by the reciprocal. So on the other side, I'm going to put times 5/3. I can simplify my 3's and then multiply, and we have w equals 5/16. Okay, now as the problems get bigger and more complicated, this isn't always the easiest way to do it. So instead, what we want to do is be able to get rid of the fractions, and we're going to use something called clearing the fraction. So I'm going to show you that on these simple problems, and then we're going to do that on some more longer, more complicated problems. So we're going to do what I call clear the fraction. And really that just means get rid of it. Okay, you guys typically don't like fractions anyway, so let's get rid of it. Okay, so I'm going to write this problem with fractions, including the x. So remember, we could write x over 1 minus 1/8 equals 9/16. Now, in order to clear the fraction, we need a common denominator. And in this case, a common denominator between 1/8 and 16 is 16. So I'm going to rewrite this. If I change the bottom, I also have to change the top. So this is 16x. Okay, if I change the 8 to a 16, I times by 2. I change the 1 to a 2. Now, once I do that, this last one's already the same. Once we have that common denominator, then we can clear it. We can get rid of the fraction or ignore the fraction. So then I can rewrite it as 16x minus 2 equals 9. Well, that's a much nicer problem to deal with. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. And we have 16x equals 11, and then divide by 16. Okay, now we need to start to recognize when this says divide by 16 and it's not a nice number, that's just a fraction. It's just 11/16. So x equals 11/16, which is what I got. If you back the video up a little bit, that's what I got the first time. Okay, same thing works here. So if I rewrite this problem, I'm going to put the w up at the top with the 3. The variable always goes in the numerator. So 3w over 5 equals 3/16. Get my pen to where, there we go. Okay, so equals 3/16. Okay, a common denominator here. Okay, so if we're going to try to find a common denominator, in this case, if I multiply them together, 5 times 16, we get 80. So let's just use 80 as our common denominator. Okay, So I'm going to rewrite these both with a denominator of 80. So 5 times 16 is 80. 3w times 16 would be 48w. Over here we'd have an 80 also, and 3 times 5 is 15. So now notice our denominators are the same. We can just work with the numerators. So we have 48w equals 15, and then divide by 48. Okay, 15 divided by 48 is not a nice number, so we have w equals 15/48, but we can simplify that. We can divide both of these by 3, so w equals 5/16. Okay, now I know that maybe seemed like a longer process on these one-step equations, but trust me, when you get to these multi-step equations, you're going to want to clear the fraction. So let's take a look at this one. Okay, we're not going to worry about checking our answers, so don't worry about that. We're just going to solve it today. Okay, and we need to clear our fraction. I don't want to deal with all these fractions. That's a lot of extra work. So we're going to clear the fraction, and by clearing the fraction, we need a common denominator. So 9, 2, and 3 all have the number 18 in common. So 9 times 2 is 18, so this would be 14x. 2 times 9 is 18, so this would be 9x. 9 times 2 is 18, so this would be 34. And 3 times 6 is 18, so the top would be 12. Okay, now we have that denominator of 18. I can just rewrite the top. So I have 14x plus 9x minus 34 equals 12. That looks a lot nicer to deal with. I would much rather deal with that. Okay, now I combine like terms. 14x plus 9x is 23x minus 34 equals 12. Okay, we want to keep the variable and its best friend together, so we need to get rid of the minus 34, so plus 34. Okay, so we have 23x equals 46. And wow, this turns out to be a really nice answer because we divide by 23 and x equals 2. Okay, so what started off looking at like not a very nice problem, we end up with this really nice answer of x equals 2. Okay, that doesn't mean we're always going to get a nice answer. We can have fractions as answers, but sometimes it does work out really well. So let's look at the next one. On this one, well, this works out really nice because notice the denominators are already the same. Wow, that was a crazy line I drew there. Okay, so we've already got a common denominator, so really I can just get rid of that denominator and rewrite it as 3n plus 5 equals, the negative sign goes with the numerator, so equals -1. And then we're going to solve this. We're going to subtract 5 from both sides. Oops, not subtract 6, subtract 5. Okay. And then we finish solving. We have 3n equals -1 and -5 is -6. And then divide by 3. N equals -2. Okay, so again, we had a really nice answer. Okay, let's try one more here. These, again, don't have common denominators, but we can find a common denominator. Now, a number that 9 and 3 all have in common is 9. So the first fraction, I don't have to change at all. It's already a 9. The 3, I want to change that to a 9, so I'd have to multiply by 3, so the top becomes 3x. Here, I've already got a 9, and over here, I need a 9. So again, multiply by 3, so in the top we have 3. Okay. Now that we have a common denominator, we can clear the fraction or get rid of the denominator. So we have 5x plus 3x minus 13 equals 3. Okay, now this is a multi-step equation just like you were working on yesterday. Okay, where we have to combine like terms first. 5x plus 3x is 8x minus 13 equals 3. Add 13 to both sides, and we have 8x equals 16. Divide by 8, x equals 2. So we did end up with a very nice answer here. So on your homework today, you're just going to do 2 simple problems, nothing over the top. I'm going to have you do 2 problems on CAMI again. Make sure you're showing your work. Make sure you show this process of clearing the fraction, and then get your answer. Tomorrow we're going to work a little more with this. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out by it and you're not getting it, I'll have another video tomorrow after we've had a day of letting it sink in. Maybe it'll be better on the second day. Remember, you can always go back and fix your assignments. I will make comments on your CAMI assignments and you can go back and fix it and earn points back. We can always learn from our mistakes. You know that that is the whole point of homework, and we want to learn from what we did wrong. So good luck with the homework tonight. Let me know if you have questions. I know that this is another step in there. Just do your very best. Have a great day.